Have you ever had an idea for an app or business that you want to build? I also constantly have thousands of ideas, and last year I decided to bring one of those to life. I built coding learning app, Zacode, and today I want to share with you a framework of how you can build your own app, learn from it, land a job thanks to it, and even turn it into a successful business. Let's start with the history lesson. So 3 to 5 years ago, you were usually building like movie app, to-do app, and maybe like recipe app based on YouTube tutorials, was putting those things into your portfolio, and it was enough to get a job. But industry has grown, and building a movie app is an old way to become a developer. And in this video, I want to show you a modern way to become a developer and what it has to do with building your own app. You might think, oh, I'm just a beginner, I'm not capable of building anything. And you're wrong. As a beginner, you absolutely should build your own apps. Because first of all, by building your own apps, you'll learn so many things that you can't learn from tutorials. You'll be having a bunch of strange errors, and time that you're gonna spend solving those errors will help you to become a real programmer and learn so many things on how to fix, debug, and how to write better code. And when I conduct technical interviews and interview beginners, it's absolutely easy to see who built something real and who didn't. Because people who actually build things, they are able to not just say you the correct answer, but to also give you a real-world example of how this correct answer has helped him to solve a certain problem. Besides learning a lot from building a real app, in the end, you're also gonna have an awesome project to your portfolio. And this is really important because you're gonna be building this project assuming that it will be used by real people and that you'll be charging money for it. You're gonna end up building something way better than casual portfolio project that other 90% of candidates have. And even if at the very end you won't end up building a real business out of this app, you're still gonna have an awesome project that will help you to stand out from competition and catch attention from cool companies who are gonna like that project, who are gonna like your experience and your possibility to build such things, and you're gonna end up getting a job. Or your chances to get this job will be much higher because your project and your skills are actually better than candidates that just build movie app or to-do app. Or if you get lucky, maybe this app gonna turn into a real business that's gonna generate a side income for you. Why not? Of course, if you're a complete beginner, you should start from basics and coding fundamentals because you're gonna need some knowledge to build cool things. And as you know from start of the video, I recently launched my own coding learning app, Zacode, where you can learn front-end development from zero in an interactive, fun way. Our customers say that it makes coding addictive because we have step-by-step learning roadmap with interactive practical lessons, so at every point of your studies, you know exactly what to do. We also have a leaderboard where you can compete with other players and win cool prizes every week. I personally select actually good prizes every single week to make sure that you can benefit from those prizes and become a better developer thanks to them. As you're gonna see from this video, building projects is really important. That's why soon we're also gonna be launching real-world projects that you can build within the platform, and our AI will check those projects for you and give you a detailed feedback on what you can do better about them. I've been working a lot on this app for the last year to make sure that it's actually good and help beginners to learn coding. We have a lot of positive reviews, so if you're watching this video within the first days of it being published, we should still have a crazy launch discount, so click the link below, register, and yeah, see you in the app. Everything starts with an idea, but I can almost guarantee you that all of your ideas are bullshit. I know, it sounds harsh, but somebody has to say it to you, and it's better going to be me. Otherwise, you're just gonna spend a lot of time building useless app that nobody needs. And it's really important step. A lot of developers make this crucial mistake, and the first thing they start is building. It makes sense because as developers, we are good at building, not marketing. That's why we build. But those couple of days or couple of weeks that you're gonna spend on validating your ideas gonna save you months of wasted development work. So it's really worth doing it. To validate your idea, do the following. Make sure your app idea solves a real problem. Find 3 people who have this problem. Offer those people to solve their problem and ask for money. It's really important. Try to solve this problem as soon as possible. If they're happy with the solution, you can build an app that does that on autopilot. If not, you can just refund them and move on with the next idea because you don't want to scam people. For example, let's assume that you have idea to build an app for coffee lovers. So the problem that you're solving is that people struggle to find good coffee shops around them. Now you need to find 3 people who love coffee and ask if they struggle to find good coffee shops around them. After you're gonna find those people, say that you have a list of great coffee shops around the city and that you sell it for $10. If they care enough about this problem, they will buy this list. If they don't, well, you don't need to build an app that people aren't ready to pay for. If they actually buy this list, it doesn't mean that your idea is great and that it's going to work, but it's a good sign that this app is going to be useful. So you can try to build an app for coffee lovers that shows good coffee shops around the city. Step number 2 are designs. How your app looks is quite an important thing because you want it to have a wow effect in the eyes of your future users and potential recruiters. So it's worth spending some time to prepare good designs. But you don't have to be a great designer. I'm a shitty designer myself. That's why when I was building Zacode, I hired a professional designer and we worked with her for a lot of time to build something nice and cool. But as a beginner, you probably don't have enough money and time to hire a professional designer, and that's okay, you don't have to. You can easily find great designs by just googling X free Figma designs, where X is your app idea. After googling that, you'll find tons of different inspirations. You can spend a couple of hours to tweak those inspirations and to add your own colors, text, and extra things. And boom, in just a couple of hours, you have great professional design for your app. So it's going to look way better than if you were to design it yourself, or than if you were not to have any designs at all. And you got all of that for free. Another option would be collaborating with a professional designer for a fraction of your future revenue. There are millions of design students who are studying design and web design, and they're looking for projects for their portfolio and to get a real-world experience. You can easily find those people in your local city student groups, and you can find such a person, share your idea, and offer them 20, 30, or maybe 50% of your future revenue. And in exchange, they will build a free design for you and gonna help you to basically create this app. And when you hear 20, 30, 50%, please don't be greedy here. The chances that your app gonna actually make at least $100 are almost zero. But by collaborating with someone, you're gonna save so much time. Plus, you might even meet a cool person with whom you're gonna become friends or maybe future potential business partners. Who knows? Practice shows that people worth more than money, and having good connections is a true value. Third step is your tech stack. And it's actually the easiest step out of all. A lot of developers overcomplicate this step, and instead of building with technologies that they actually know, they try to find new cool technologies and learn those technologies while building the project. And this is the mistake. It's always better to build with those technologies that you already know and that you want to learn and master for the job, instead of trying out something new. The only exception might be situations when you actually need this new technology to make your app work, but beside that, always use things that you know. Example tech stack for the front end might be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, TypeScript, and let's say Firebase for database. And by the way, when I say app, it doesn't mean that it has to be like mobile app. It can be web app. Nowadays with web apps, you can achieve almost anything that you can achieve with mobile apps. Plus, web app will work on both mobile and web. And it's harder to make people download something than to make them open your website. For hosting, you can use Vercel or Netlify. Those are free tools, and it takes just a couple of minutes to set up hosting with those tools. For landing pages and marketing pages, I usually use Webflow because they have a bunch of cool professional templates. They're good in SEO, and you can have your website up and running in literally a day. And trust me, it's almost never worth building your landing pages with the code. Better save time for coding something more complex. And you're gonna potentially ask me, Andrew, if we have tools like Webflow where you can create websites from zero in a day, why do we need coding? And the answer is that we need coding for more complex things. So if you want to build anything except landing page, you're gonna need the code. I mean, with no code tools, you're probably gonna get somewhere, but pretty quickly you're gonna hit the wall of limits of that platform, and you just won't be able to build something more complex without the code. So if you want to build something more complex like Notion, YouTube app, email management platform, you're gonna need the code for almost all of those things. So save time by building your landing pages with images and texts with Webflow, and focus on spending most of your time coding complex things for your app so it solves problems of your customers better. All right, you got the idea, designs, and even a tech stack. It's time to start building. After building, most likely the first version of your app is going to be shit. And not shit in terms of how it looks. It might look great and work great, but most likely you were building this app on your own for yourself, and real users haven't tried it and haven't provided you with the real actual feedback. And that's okay. Ideally, you should have built your app together with your users by constantly having conversations and feedback from them, but it's a hard path to go through, especially as a beginner developer. Since you already built it, it's time to share it with the world. Try to find your users and have meaningful conversation with every single user. Collect as much feedback as possible and keep iterating on your app, improving it and changing it. Because development is the process that never ends. That's why we actually need millions of developers across the world, because after publishing the app, you never stop working on that. If you want to grow your business and satisfy your customers, you have to constantly collect feedback from them, do updates, changes, improvements. Moreover, your competitors aren't sleeping. They also constantly building and adding new features. So you have to keep working on your app constantly if you want to keep up with the competition. So if you got lucky and there are actual users of your app, your number one priority should be talking to those users and asking them for feedback. Don't be scared to jump on a call with them or send them a couple of emails. Constantly keep asking them for the feedback, because this is the only way to build something cool is to build it together with your users. Of course, building an app is a long and complicated process that has thousands of different steps. But today I try to simplify this process into 4 steps, like getting a validated idea, getting good designs by Googling or collaborating with a professional designer, choosing the tech stack that you're gonna need for the job and that you actually know, and lastly, communicating with your customers to make your app even better. So after learning fundamentals, I recommend you to start building apps for your portfolio as soon as possible. And if you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I recommend building those apps as mini startups. In that way, your app's going to look more professional, recruiters will be more impressed, and there will be a small chance that one of those apps will start generating a side income for you. That's why, by the way, in my web app, Zacode, we're gonna have a lot of real-world projects because building real projects is an essential part of learning. And if you're currently learning how to code or you want to learn how to code, I definitely recommend checking out my app Zacode, the link in the description. Check it out, and yeah, see you in the next one.